Hey guys, welcome back to the JPM Performance channel. It's been a couple weeks because we were at the Runoffs, but here we are. Second Thursday in October 9th. You can see our calendar has pictures from last year's Halloween party. You're thinking to yourself, Halloween party, what are you talking about? We have a huge Halloween party every year in this little place we call Shacktown. What is Shacktown? It's a little place out here in the woods. We have a huge party, 150 people, live band, awesome time. It is the Saturday before Halloween every year. So this year it's the 25th. If you have an inkling to show up, just show up. Make sure you have a costume though, because if you don't, you'll be in trouble and we will put one on you. So anyway, that's my Shacktown Halloween invitation. So we'll get right into the shop tour first and then we'll do a little Runoffs recap. So you can see I've got everything covered up here. I did get the tracking information for Wade McBride's pistons. They will be here today, which is the last thing that I needed to do to get this kind of going. Finished up. I've got everything covered up while I was gone at the Runoffs. But Wade will actually be here later today and to drop off his car, and then I can get his engine and transmission and everything put together. Get him ready for next season and get him back out of here before the snow flies, of course. I did get just a street Miata in that has, go figure, a crank sensor code. So the crank sensors on NB Miatas have these single bolts that hold them in place and they can move very easily. They're always, it seems like it's always an issue on an NB Miata, but he's got an oil leak. I'm going to check into the crank sensor. I don't do a lot of street car stuff, but I've been working on this car for quite a few years now, so help the guy out. It's all good. Now here's something you don't see very often in the shop, well, ever, because why would you? Old school 1980 something GT, like a stunt bike. And John told me that it's got this thing called a gyro. I didn't know what it was called. I just knew that you could do this and the brakes still work. So it's like a gyro thing. Look at this thing. I don't know how it works exactly, but I know that it does. And it's pretty cool. So anyway, Joe had this at the Runoffs because he's got a buddy that restores these bikes. So this is a restored BMX stunt bike, and it's for sale. If you're interested, hit me up and I'll get you in touch with Joe. And yeah, it's pretty cool. This is old school. If you're a kid from the 80s, this is exactly this kind of stuff that we kind of lusted after back in those days. So pretty cool. Over here we have our, I don't know what happened. I still haven't figured it out yet. Ken's car ran perfect all week. Couldn't have been better. Qualified in the second row. And at the start of the race, about 4 seconds in, the car just shuts off. Dies, comes back, dies, comes back. I'm looking at all the data logs through the Megasquirt trying to figure out exactly what's going on. But literally the car was perfect all week and failed in the race. This is just how the Runoffs can go sometimes. And Ken has actually had really bad luck at the Runoffs at Elkhart Lake. So I'm in the middle of trying to diagnose what happened. Looking at the data logs, everything looks okay. Crank sensor looks okay. RPMs, I don't know quite yet. Just now getting into it, but we're going to do a test here in a couple weeks, see if we can take it to Hedge Hollow for a track day coming up in, I guess it's like a week and a half. Track Addicts, what's it called, John?
Hooked on Driving.
Hooked on Driving, that's right. Hooked on Driving down at Hedge Hollow. So we're going to get the car ready. Joe's going to take it down there, see if we can get through a couple sessions. But what a disappointment, man. F Production turned out to be the who's going to win kind of a race. We'll talk about that here in a minute. Did get confirmation that the Rocketeer kits and engines are packed up and will be shipping this week from the UK. So we are looking good. Did spend some more time on the top, working on getting it cleaned up. It's really coming together really nicely. You can see how much nicer it looks here now. A little bit more cleaning I want to do as we go, but yeah, the top is looking really good. So now that that's done, all we need is an engine and a Rocketeer kit, and we're going to be looking good. really good. So post runoffs, just got to get back into the shop and get back after it. A lot of people like to say, oh, I bet you take some time off after the runoffs. No, too much to do and not enough time to get it all done in. But let's talk about the runoffs. Okay, I'm going to have to sit down for this one because it's a bit of a story all the way around. So why don't we just start with E production? We'll work our way down, E, F, and H. And STL. Why don't we start with STL, actually? So, some of you guys don't know it, but I build a lot of STL engines. In the field that we had, I had JPM engines in Mike Taylor's Honda and John Sewell's Honda, Craig McAfee's NC MX-5, David Paulfinier's ND MX-5. If you guys are watching, okay, here's my disclaimer. If you guys are watching this and I forget to mention you in this shop tour, I'm extremely sorry. Had about 30 engines running at the runoffs this year, so I'm going to try and kind of go through everything. In STL, Mike Taylor qualified on the front row next to Jose Osiris Pena, and they actually had a great race. There was a full course caution, and on the restart, unfortunately, Jose made a mistake and jumped the start on a restart, and you can't do that. So if you watch the video, of course, you guys can go back onto YouTube, SCCA.com, and find all of the videos for these races. But when I was watching the race, the beautiful thing about Elkhart Lake is they have these huge big screens all over the track. You can actually watch the live footage, and then when the cars come to your part of the track, you can see them up close and personal, of course. But man, on the restart, I saw Jose. He was not only out of line, but he was also nosed up on Mike before they got to the start zone. Big no-no. And he ended up jumping the start a little bit, got in ahead, and actually won the race. Jose did. Mike Taylor was second, and Nick Leverone was third. But they penalized Jose 5 seconds for the jumping the restart. So, congratulations to Mike Taylor, who finished the race only 2 seconds behind, so that actually moved him up to the win. Mike Taylor coming home for the win, first national championship in STL. Super proud of him. Craig McAfee and John Sewell had a great race for quite a while, and poor David Paulfinier had a horrible first lap and ended up wrecking his car, unfortunately, causing the full course caution. But a bit of a crazy race. If you honestly go back and watch all the runoffs races, because they're all pretty darn intense, really, really good races. So that was STL. E production, we had John Brackey on the pole with John Hainsworth second, and Tyler Ladd in my old Z3 started third. A great field of cars. Man, Chris Haldeman was fourth in qualifying, and Matt Reynolds, old NB 99 Miata E-Production race car, of course. Everybody knows that car. But we had a couple of Z3s, a rotary, and the Miata back up in the first 2 rows. For some odd reason, it was strange. All these production races seem to be a little strange, but John Brackey didn't get going. Hainsworth got a big jump. Tyler ended up running him down. John Brackey ended up running into Haldeman. So if you're in a Z3, tip of the day, you're not going to outbreak a Miata. Just wait till the straights. So this is how the cars have their balance in this class. The BMWs are going to be a little faster down the straights. The Miatas are going to be a little better in the corners and then under the brakes. John ended up causing damage to both his car and Chris Haldeman's car. Neither could continue as the race went on. Shout out to Cameron Wallgren, had a great start, was moving up, really had a really good race going, and ended up having a problem and actually, because he couldn't get his car off the track, caused a full course caution. And actually the E-Production race ended under caution, full course caution. You know, Tyler did an amazing job running down John Hainsworth, got around him and was able to keep him behind him before the caution came out. It would have been good to see if John would have been able to mount a charge for a couple lap race at the end, which was kind of a real shame to not be able to see that and see what might have shaken out. But In the end, Tyler Ladd wins his second national championship in a row and the somehow, someway, sixth national championship in a row for that car, which is the car that I won my 3 in, and of course Greg Ira a year after that, and now Tyler with 2. So, whew, that car is still doing good, man. I'm super proud of all the development we've done on the car, and really proud of Tyler pulling it out and driving well. I think as he goes to more and more of these runoffs, he's realizing that racing never really goes the way you think it's going to. Qualifying can be one thing, the race can be another. Welcome to racing. This is the way it is. So congratulations to Tyler. John Hainsworth was second, and a shout out to Austin Bradshaw, who brought his first Gen RX-7 home for third. So a BMW and 2 rotaries on the podium. Pretty cool. So, whew, okay, moving on. F production. F production is always the wildest production race of the 3. E, F, and H. F production is always unprecedented, it seems like. Got to give a shout out to David Stripmatter. Wow, he was the talk of the town, man. He put it on the pole in his Integra, which is very similar to Ken's, and not only that, but was fastest in every sector of the track. I mean, he was the fastest down the straights. He was the fastest through the handling sections. He's got it going on. He's really, I was impressed. So as the race went on, so we had Stripmatter, and then we had Bovis, Chris Bovis, and his XGT Light. I'm going to call it a GT Light car on the front row, and then Kevin Ruck and Ken Kennard. 4 Hondas in the first 2 rows, and then you go back to the Miatas. So Mason Workman, Steven Simons, Stephen Powers, David Bednarz. Man, so many of my guys in F production. Bill Verdeen, Mark Webber, who ran his 70th and 71st runoff start at this runoffs. Mike Froh, of course. I already said Bill Verdeen. Too many cars to remember, of course. But as the race got going, Mason, the Beast, Workman, that guy knows how to start a race. I always tell people, when the green flag drops, go. And he knows how to do it. He got into the lead by the carousel at the first lap. But the power of the Hondas were too much for the Miatas. And as the race went on, he kind of fell back. So many strange things went on. David Stripmatter ended up getting a flat tire coming out of the carousel. Kevin Ruck had a strange rear brake lockup and spun and won, and then had his car shut off in turn 5 a few laps later. Ken didn't make it till he pulled off at turn 5 on the first frickin' lap because of some odd, unbeknownst to me yet, situation with his car. So that left Chris Bovis as the lone Honda guy out front. So as the race went on, poor Bill Verdeen got clobbered, and his car was broken and couldn't move, so we had a full course caution. And on the restart, I don't know exactly what happened to Bovis, but he did not get going. I don't know if he had a transmission problem. He says he had a transmission problem. So Mason jumped into the front of him. David Bednarz did. Stephen Powers did. Stephen Simons did. I mean, I think at one point Bovis was back in 5th. And as things got going, Mason had a steering rack failure, and then Stephen Simons pulled up, and Bovis just kind of went past him and was in the lead. And here's another good shout out. Stephen Simons, what a drive. An amazing draft. I mean, faster through the kink on the last lap. A picture perfect pass into Canada corner. And, you know, Bovis is sitting out there dead stick. I mean, it's like he was stopped. And coming through turn 14, I don't know. You go back and watch the replay for yourself. Stephen must have had 10 car length lead. And somehow, some way, Bovis passes him before the start-finish line and turns purple sector number 4 on the last lap of the race. Interesting. Not a fan of GT Light cars and F production. I'm just not. I'm not going to say too much more than that, except for Steven Simons actually was the fastest F production car, proper F production car. Without being too controversial, I'm just going to leave it alone. Okay, that was F production. So we had Steven Simons second, Stephen Powers third. Awesome drive, man. What a great job by Stephen Powers as well. Then we had a slew of guys back there. I think Mark Webber, who was fourth?
Mark was 5.
Mark was fifth.
Bednar.
Yeah, poor David Bednar's ended up getting into the tire wall on the last lap. This makes me feel bad, because I know Jerry Lamb was 6th. You can't remember either. Gosh, it was probably one of my guys too. Come on, we gotta remember this, John. Wish I had my phone, I'd look it up. I can't remember who was 4th. John's gonna figure it out for me while I move on to my trials and tribulations in H production this year. So, really had high hopes for H production this year, and new motor, made good power on the dyno, not really anything more than what the other one did. Got it all realigned, got to the track. I think the lack of 3 days of qualifying hurt me, which is why, a lot of guys did some testing, so I did not test. So my first day on the track was qualifying number 1. And so I had put these 2 transmissions together. You guys had seen me messing with them. The one transmission that I ended up putting in the car had a newer limited slip. So I'm running these clutch type limited slips. And I think that the limited slip just wasn't broken in quite enough. And the car really pushed in Q1. And I just didn't like the way the car handled. So I ended up changing the transmission after the first qualifier. I was qualified 3rd somehow because the car was terrible. But I was like a 2.5 seconds off of the guys up front, which for me is not really acceptable. So I changed the transmission, got the other transmission put back in, got out for Q2, and the car was back to the girl that I love. Unfortunately, I had an axle failure. So we're gonna decipher. Who was it?
Workman finished.
Workman was 4th.
5th.
5th.
Wait. Sorry, 4th.
Workman was 4th.
Mark Webber 5th.
I guess I forgot about Mason being 4th because he's of all of his steering problems. Okay. So, Steven Simons, Stephen Powers, Mason Workman, Mark Webber, Jerry Lamb in my original F production Miata. Congrats to him with a solid top 6. So, sorry about that, Mason. But, yeah, whatever. Remember last year when you forgot to thank me on the podium? Ha! Kudos. Okay, back to the H production thing. So, as I deciphered all of this, had an axle failure in Q2. Like, what is going on? In Q1, look at this. I come in and my left front tire is cut. And I mean cut bad, down to the cord. I'm like, what is that all about? You can see here, my beautiful flare was literally rolled under because the tire, I guess it was too close to the flare. Then I have the axle failure. Check this out. Right on the edge of this CV joint. Shout out to Chris Haldeman who came by. He's like, let's just take it apart and see what happened. So you can see where the balls had been riding on the very edge of the axle because the CV joint was too close to the edge and the boot was stretched and the CV joint was too close to the edge. And I'm like, how did that happen? Oh, I know how it happened. Self-induced. When I was aligning the car before the runoffs, I was trying to even things out on the suspension underneath, and I ended up rolling the top of the strut out a little bit more, and then to get the track where I wanted it, I rolled the lower control arm out, and it stretched the freaking boot out. and it put the CV axle on its edge. Hence, axle failure. So the car was really good for Q2, but the axle failed on the first lap. So I'm like, all right, so I rolled it in. You can see how much further in now the tire is. I realigned this whole corner, new axle. Another shout out to Chris Haldeman, who let me use his platforms, level pads. Got the car all realigned, and I'm like, well, here we go, race time, starting fourth. So started fourth. The single most amazing race I've ever been in, between Steve Sargis, Chuck Mathis, Chris Shaftsma, myself, and Matt Brannon, Braden Connolly, and their X19s. Wait until you guys see the in-car. The footage from SCCA is amazing, right? But wait until you see the in-car. There's nothing like it. Now, what I learned in the race. I have never had to be in the draft as much as I was. So, very strangely to me, both Steve Sargis and Chuck Mathis had me a little bit on power, which meant I spent most of my race in the draft. So all of my air's coming in here, and I spent a lot of my race about this close to Chuck's bumper, which means I'm not getting air. Now, the oil temperature climbed and climbed and climbed. And this is where I always tell my guys, so as an engine builder, I really would never want to see more than about 260 degrees of oil temperature. You get to 260, man, it's getting hot. It's getting pretty hot. Like, you might want to think about backing her down. Well, I'm watching, 260, I'm not slowing down. 280, didn't even think about it. 300, no. 310, quit looking at it, and blew the motor to the moon. If you haven't seen the footage from the video, go back and find it, because there were flames from about here to the very back of the car. So my anticipation is the oil got way too hot, lost a connecting rod bearing. Coming out of turn 12, I could feel it going, no thank you. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to make it to the top, shut it off, coast in. Didn't get a chance. Blew it to the freaking moon. Blew this brand new engine to the moon. So, something I was going to show you guys. I've got this meme. So as an engine builder, you have to understand that your drivers, your engine owners, I'm going to find this on my phone, John. My guys, right? My drivers, most of them don't tell the truth as far as like how hot the engine actually got. And somebody sent me this meme years and years ago, and I send it to engine builders, people all over the country, because I think it is so appropriate. And in this case, the driver blatantly and on purpose ignored the engine builder's request of no hotter than 260 degrees oil temperature. Okay? Check this out. This may be a little un-PC for some of you, but whatever. It's my channel. I get to do what I want. Can you see that? How hot you told your engine builder your engine got, how hot it actually got. I think that's a funny meme. What do you think, John? Is it going to fly?
It'll be all right.
Okay. Anyway, I love to send that meme to guys that tell me that they never overheated their engine. And in this case, like I said, the driver ignored the engine builder. So, what does this all mean? It means I'm down to one engine, for starters, and I've got some work to do. So, 3 laps to go, completely blew the engine to the moon. What a great race, though. I hope you guys get the opportunity to see it and check out the in-car video. I'm sure that we'll get it up in the next week or so-ish. My final shout out is to the Volkswagen Mafia. So I come back to my car, I don't know what day it is. I'm cleaning it up and I look inside and there's this Sunoco pillow. And it's all signed by all the guys of the Volkswagen Mafia. Now, who are they? It's kind of funny because I dubbed these guys the VW Mafia a couple of years ago. Of course, Chris Shaftsma and Chuck Mathis. Also Ralph Lindau, Angus Crome, and Chris Albin. These are the 5 members of the VW Mafia. So this apparently is a NASCAR pillow that Chuck found in his basement, and he thought they'd all sign it. And on the back, it is signed, it's not personal, it's just racing, the VW Mafia. But I did get one more present from them, and it's this mirror. So as it turns out, there's an opinion that I need a mirror right here so that I can see them when they're trying to pass me. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the mirror that I'm not going to use. And but I do appreciate the pillow. So I'll put this on the wall of fame. It's one of the best things that came out of the runoffs this year. So, but even through all these failures, all the problems that I had, and the fact that I didn't even finish the race, what a great week. I love the runoffs. It's my favorite time of year. Had a really fun week. Man, Mason and his crew guy Bill Morton had this great little bar area in our section. We had really fun evenings, lots of camaraderie. Yuri Kalazos had his taco night, and of course he would come over and visit with us. Man, we just had a great week, which is also why I like the long week at the runoffs. So we have all this camaraderie. So we'll see if the shortened runoffs week continues. I don't know if it will or not. I think maybe pay attention to your post-runoffs survey if you were there at the runoffs this year and you feel like maybe there's something you would change. SCCA likes to send us a survey and ask us our opinion. So we'll see how that goes. Long shop tour. Congratulations to Steve Sargis for his 10th national championship. Chuck Mathis was second in H production, and Matt Brannon in the X19 was third when I, had to retire. So congratulations to those guys. We had a great race. Man, I can't stress enough, don't miss the in-car footage that's going to be coming. We got our 360 camera working, which I'm pretty sure worked. It was dead after the race, with the fire and the smoke. I forgot to turn it off, so it just died. I'm assuming it's still okay, though. Keep your eyes out for that. And we also have a couple more videos coming down the pipe. And, of course, now we're into wintertime. Engines, the Rocketeer cars we're going to be working on. All sorts of fun projects. Keep watching. I appreciate you guys watching through the whole season. It's been a good season. We're going to see if we can improve, make things even better for next year. Have a great rest of your week. Whew. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.